Hey guys, this is Lori with LM's Crafty Creations, and I am here to share a Craftology project with you. This is actually the tutorial for the project. I am using what month is this? November? This is the November Craftology box paper, and this is called Winter Wishes by Bo Bunny, and it's very, very pretty. Um, What I'm doing with it here is I have a lot of these Tim Holtz collection folios. So when they first came out, I just fell in love with them. And I bought like 3 or 4 and I've never done anything with them. So I picked one up the other day and thought, hey, maybe I'll do a Craftology project with this. So I decided to do it on this one. And I wasn't sure how the craft cardstock would go with this collection, but it's turning out really well, I think. So what I've done already here is I've taken, get it off. So I've just done a strip of paper here down the side. Now these collection folios, if you can see how they have the score lines so that way it can expand. So I only put the paper where there wasn't any score lines. Um, so it doesn't have to fold over. Now on the front, I did do it all the way over. So you open this up, and on the front here, this sheet is, I cut it at 8, a little over 8.5 by 12. So, and then I just rounded the corners and I inked around my edges and I put it all the way around here. Now what I did here for these holes, now I messed up on this one, as you can see how crazy it looks, and this one looks a lot better. So I took my 1/2 inch hole punch and I marked where this hole was and punched it. Now I did this one first and I kind of just guessed and I punched it and it wasn't right, so I had to keep punching it until I got it right. So I'm going to have to cover this up with I'm going to put another strip of paper right here to hide that. But I liked this design. So I took one of the cut aparts here and I stuck some of the like chit chat stickers from the collection on this little banner, and mine say family happiness. I inked around all my edges with Tim Holtz, what is this, vintage photo, which goes well with this brown color of the folio. And then this sticker came in my Craftology box as well, this little jewel sticker, so I stuck it right there. I'm not done with the cover yet. I'm just getting started. I'm going to put some of also in our kit we got these beautiful flowers by Blue Fern Studios. So I'm going to put a couple of those over here off to the side, and I don't know where else. So anyway, that's what I've done so far. Now on the inside, let's get started here. Now the only thing I've done on the inside is I took my distress tool and I just rubbed it with the vintage photo on where all of the score marks are, just to give it some color because there's not going to be any paper there. So I've done it here and on the inside here as well, and on this flap. And then here I just cut 2 different strips of paper and covered this flap and used my corner rounder to round the corners. So that's all I've done there. So let's start on this side, and this thing is kind of crazy. So I don't think I have anything good that will hold it down. It's just not very, there, maybe that'll help. So what I'm going to do first is I've cut this flap at, let's see, 5, well, with the fold, I've cut it at 5 3/4 by 8.5, and then I rounded the corners here and I scored it on the 5 3/4 inch side at a 1/2 inch. Now I'm folding on my score mark. I'm going to add glue to my flap, and I'm going to add my flap right here. See this I don't know if you can see this score line right here, this last score line. There's several score lines right here where the folio will fold, and I'm going to add the flap right after or right up against this last score mark. So I'll show you that now. I'm going to add my glue. I'm going to stick it down here, getting it even kind of at the top and bottom. It's not as big, as tall as the entire folio. I cut it a little bit shorter on purpose. Excuse me, allergies today, guys. Sorry. So I'm just going to score this. So now we have a cute little flap. On this side, I'm going to add these. Now what I've done here, I'm going to use these cut aparts from the collection. I cut them down a little smaller, but then 3x4, so I could mat this pocket I'm going to put on this flap. So the flaps, you're going to need 2 flaps, and these are 4 inches by 5 3/4. You're going to want to score on the 5 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. And the flaps are actually going to go right up on the edge. I have 2 of these. Right here before the edge of the folio starts to round. So you'll have about 1/8 of an inch gap between the 2 flaps right here. So let's add those. And I'm doing it right on the edge of the folio. And then I'm going to add the other one about 1/8 of an inch away. There we go. I don't know why I haven't used these folios before. They're so cute. And so the way I'm going to do this is this flap is going to fold in, and these are going to fold over on top of it. And I haven't decided. We're probably going to need some kind of closure, so I may have to do a magnet there. I was trying to prevent closures on this one, but I think we're going to need to do it. So on these 2 flaps, we're going to do 2 pockets, and your pockets are going to measure. Oh, my allergies are just killing me. They are 5 inches by 3.5. You're going to score on the 5-inch side at 1/2 inch on each end, and then on the 3.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. And then fold on your score lines and miter your corners, or miter your corners and then fold on your score lines, actually. I'm going to add our glue here. And this is just going to go directly on top of this flap, completely lined up with the left side. So the pocket's on this side. There we go. Now I already have my little cut apart cut for this, and it's already inked and everything, so I'm going to go ahead and add that and just mat that little pocket so you can see it a little bit more clearly. Ah! Oh no! Well, got glue all over that, didn't I? Okay, so. And there's our little key. How cute is that? Let's see if I can fix my little glue mistake here. Perfect. Now you're gonna cut 2 of those pockets, so I'm gonna go ahead and add this second one to the other flap. I probably won't mat all of this on camera, and this is actually going to be a very short project. Let's see, add the pocket. There we go. This paper is so pretty. So I've taken the pink key and I'm going to use that one next. Just going to add my glue and go ahead and mat this pocket as well, since I already have that decision made. Oops, I want it to go that way. Yeah, sure, why not? I was going to do them facing the same way, but last minute decision there. So, that is cute. So there's a pocket here and a pocket here, and I'll have tags inside those, and they both flip. You could put a photo here and a photo there. And then we'll have this and this, and maybe, no, I'm not going to do another pocket. I'm just going to leave these blank. Maybe a corner pocket. But for now, that's done. This is going to drive me nuts, so I'm just going to take these to keep this shut for now. I'll probably add magnets to both of those. Now, for the inside, that's all I'm going to do on that left side. So for the inside, I'm going to put my glue up. Already don't want it to get clogged. Okay. For the inside, where's my little... Okay, so here are the cheap inserts that come with this. You could absolutely use these. A lot of people do what I've kind of already done. I started to use these. I folded them in half, so it came like, I don't know, like that, I think. And so I've kind of folded it in half. And I was just going to stick it directly on here, lining it up with this score line on this side. But they're so flimsy that I'm nervous about them. So I'm going to make a binding instead, which is going to make the folio stand out a bit more, but you have so much room right here for it to expand. I think it's going to be okay. So I'm going to trash those, and I've already scored them. So this is 8 3/4. I've cut my cardstock to 8 3/4 by 9, and then I've done quarter-inch gussets here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my binding together. So y'all have seen me, if you've been watching my videos, you've seen me do this a million times. So I'm going to kind of run through this quickly. So I've put tape on every other 1/2 inch score mark, and I'm just folding down the cardstock and burnishing on those 1/2 inch marks. So I'm sticking those 2 1/2 inch lines together so they give me a hinge. So then I'm going to go ahead and burnish between the 2 1/2 inch spaces, remove the tape, and stick it down. I'm probably using mostly flat embellishments on this, so we really don't need huge gussets. I use mostly flat embellishments anyway, but I tend to go crazy with my flips and flaps, so I usually give myself a little bit more, but this is a smaller project, so I don't really think it's necessary. I told you I was going to go kind of fast on this one. I think I am going to do maybe a video where I do just binding, so y'all can refer back to just that one video all the time if you need binding help. Because for those of you who already know how to do it, it's a pain to have to watch it in every tutorial I know. Okay, so here we go. Here's our hinges, and I'm just going to go through here and burnish them all the opposite direction so we get nice folds. Now I'm not adding tape to these hinges, and I'm not going to miter them or anything. So I've left about, that looks like, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, that's about 3/4 of an inch, and this is a little more. It's about an inch on this side. So let's see how that's going to fit on here. Okay, that's going to fit perfectly. I think it's going to work out just fine. And we're just going to stick our stuff directly to this. So let me show you what I mean. First of all, let me put my tape on my hinges and my 1/2 inch tape. I just ran out of it. So let me see if I can move over to my drawer real quick. Get some more. Sorry for my draping cords. Okay, so I'm going to find the beginning of this. This is where those score tape sheets really come in handy, but I think I'm out of them, so you'll have to watch me add rows of tape to this. You do want full coverage of tape on your binding so that it stays down. And this binding isn't necessarily going to be used in the same way as like a regular binding is for a mini album, but still you want it to stay. This is kind of an anything goes kind of project. You can do it exactly as I am doing it, or you can add photos directly to your pages, and I'll show you what I'm talking about by that in a minute. Looks like I'm going to overhang my tape a little bit here. Okay, here we go. All right. Now, I'm going to remove all of this. Whoops. And it is overhanging a little bit. Fix that real quick. Whoa, super sticky. And I'm just going to stick this down, lining it exactly up right against that last score mark. Stick it all the way down. Make sure it doesn't get in the way of my little, whatever those are called, for my closure. And I'm just going to burnish really well in between my gussets. Make sure I'm getting a good stick here. Okay, there we go. So here's my binding, but I'm not going to use it like I use a normal binding. What I'm going to do is I have an example here. This is driving me crazy. I wish I could just fold it under, but it's going to mess it up. Well, we'll see. Is that going to stay? It's better than it was. Okay, so what I've done here is made just a simple pocket. And it doesn't have any hinges or anything, you'll notice. Sorry. And what I've done, this is I've cut one piece to 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then I cut another piece to 6 and let's see, no, 7 1/4 by 4 3/4, and then I scored on the 7 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end, and then on the 4 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. And then I folded on all of my score lines and burnished, and I made a pocket. I stuck it down to here. So all your measurements are down below, don't forget, if I lost you there, because I know I already had this made, so I apologize ahead of time for that. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to put glue on it, and I'm going to stick it directly on top of this hinge. So see what I've got going on here? I'm going to move it away from the score line. And instead of it being a normal hidden hinge type deal and where you stick it on top of the hinge, I'm just going to glue it like, or where you stick the pocket inside the hinge or whatever. Does that make sense? I'm just going to glue it right on top. So we're going to see how this works. And I think I'm going to use score tape. We shall see if this is going to work how I want it to work. So I'm just going to remove, I put just a 1/4 inch score tape right along here, and I'm just going to stick it right on here. Super easy, super simple. And there I have an undercut flap. Done. It turns with the hinge, no problems. Now this piece is a cut apart from the collection that I've already cut and inked around the edges. It's going to go right on top of here. So let's go ahead and do that now since it's already cut. This is like one of the last pieces that I cut, pre-cut ahead of time to show you what I'm doing. Can you tell that I didn't make one of these ahead of time? I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants here. Okay. There we go. So now you have a cute pocket. So I don't have anything cute to put in it. I made this booklet, so you could put the booklet inside of it and it will stick up here. But I made the booklet because it was going to go on I wonder if I should do it on this, the back of this hinge. That would be weird, right? Because then you wouldn't be able to see the front. You'd have to mat it first. Because what's going to happen here is we're going to have to mat this, but the hinge is still going to show. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Because that's just... So I think I'm going to put this little booklet on this hinge. And it is going to just open like this. So it's going to be the next page. So this booklet I cut to 8.5 by 6 3/4, and I scored on the 8.5 inch side at 4 1/4 and folded it in half. So I'm just going to add tape to the back of this. Now if you want to, if you would rather kind of cover some of this hinge up, no, that wouldn't work. You could mat this whole thing, you know, in the hinge too. So if you want to mat this extra pocket, you know, you would cut it to your matting to a little over 6 inches by 4 to mat that and kind of cover the hinge. I don't think I'm going to cover the hinge though, because that's part of the folio aspect of it. I'm going to still leave 1/4 inch from the hinge. But that's personal preference. You could put a strip of washi here to cover this up, or score tape with glitter would look cute too if you're into that kind of thing. Sparkly things, which I am. So I'm going to put this right at the top here. And you need to stay away from your score line when you're doing this. So there, now it's attached to this hinge. You can see that right there. And you'll be able to open it and turn the hinge. Now you can attach something small right here if you want to as well. And even up here, because you're going to have that extra hinge just hanging out right there that you'll be able to see. Or you could just decorate it with a strip of paper. That would look cute too. So that's a 1/2 inch hinge. So I would cut like a 1/4 inch strip of paper, which I think I have an extra little strip here. Why is it so hard to cut a 1/4 inch on these? I wonder if that's right. Yeah. Okay. So you could take your 1/4 inch strip here and just put it right down the side, or you could cut it a little larger than 1/4 inch, and you'll have a little decorative thing right there, which would look cute. And you could do the same on the opposite side, which I think I will, is just put, you could even go a little bit larger than a 1/4 inch and just have that decorative strip to kind of hide that hinge you've got going on right there. So there's an idea for you. Now, next, okay, so I'm going to give you fair warning. That's all I had planned ahead of time, so we're just going to wing it from here. I don't know what I was doing with that. So I pulled aside a couple of things. Like this little bag Tamara included. It had some goodies in it from the Craftology box, and I thought it was cute. So, you know, you could stick it even right there. Or I could actually put it on the opposite side of this hinge, and it would stick out right there. And I could have another pocket right there. But since I already have this pocket, I don't want it to interfere with that. I wonder if that would look funny. Maybe we should just put it, it would look cute right there because it takes up some of this space. And you could put something in it behind here. So I guess you could kind of call this sort of like a junk journal type folio where you just put just whatever you want. Now here's another bag that I had saved from something that Tamara had sent me. And see, it's too long on this side to put it in here. But I could still cut it and put it. Or I could cut it that way. Just cute things. These tags were included in our kit, so I thought maybe I could stick these at the top of here. So what am I going to do next? I think I'm going to do, so you're going to need to measure whatever you put in. I don't really want it to go past this elastic here. So the next thing I'm going to measure is like probably 4.5 by, and you could do the full 8 3/4. So let's see, what is this? Here's a scrap that I have. This is 5 by 8 3/4. So I think I'm just going to put this down. So where did I put my tape? So you can see how random a project this is. It's just kind of a bunch of stuff thrown together. And I think it's going to turn out super cute when you get it all matted. So there's just a piece of paper. So you're going to have layers. Now this one is going a little close to that edge. It's right there at this edge right here, which is okay. It's still going to be fine. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. I'm just going to keep adding little flaps and maybe even another booklet. Let's do another booklet because I like that, and maybe let's do a booklet on the pocket. I was trying to use some of my scraps, or a pocket on the booklet. Here's an extra pocket that I made. Let's see. It's too big. I'm not going to be able to use that one. Okay. So let's do, what did we say for our last one? This one was like 5 inches. Let's do the next one a little bit longer. So let's do it at 5.5. So if I'm going to do a booklet, I'm going to cut it. Let's see. Hold on, I'll give you the measurements. Make sure I do it right first. Ooh, we can make it kind of undercut too. This one I won't do that though. I'll do that with the next one. Okay, so I've made another booklet and I've cut it a little bit shorter than the hinge. And it looks like it's going right up against, so I need to cut it a little bit. So what's it at? 5.5. Let's do it at, let's let's cut a 1/2 inch off. Okay, so now you're going to want to cut your paper to, oops, this is 10.5, and I scored on the 10.5 inch side at 5 1/4. So it's 10.5 by 8 is what I've done this one at, if you want to do what I'm doing. And I'm just going to add this to my hinge. So this will be our next booklet. And I'm going to put this, what do we have, 6 hinges? Yes. I think I'm going to put this, line it up at the very, no, I'm going to put it in the middle, where there's just a little space. Can you see that? There's a little space up here and a little space down there. And this is just going to open up like this. And let's go ahead and put a pocket right here. So we're going to cut our pocket to 6 1/4 by, let's see, do I have any scraps I can make a pocket out of? What is this? 6 1/4 by 3 1/2. I'm going to score on the 6 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. Whoops. And then on the 3 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch. I'm going to miter my corners. And then fold on your score lines and burnish. Oops, I bent my little page there. And I'm just going to add this right here at the bottom. Whoops. Glue sliding around on me. Now how cute is that? Now I do have this little image peeking out at me that I have put on cardstock. I'm just going to cut around it really quick, or at least around part of it, so I can get an idea of how it's going to look. I usually go through and I just take my stickers and I stick them all on cardstock before I even get started doing anything, because I usually ended up doing that anyway. This one is really cute. Sorry guys, almost done. Just fast forward through this part. I would do it for you, but I don't know how, because I'm not really good at video editing or speaking apparently. Okay, here we go. Now, wouldn't that be cute? Kind of popped up on that pocket like that, where you have that beautiful image and then something, I don't even know what, sticking in the pocket too. So there's you an idea. I'm going to stick this in my pocket so I don't forget it. So I think I'm going to do that. So I think next, so we have this and then another booklet. What do we want to do next? How about 2 tags? Kind of like this, or maybe exactly like that. Because I just think I need more pockets, so, because I like pockets. So I'm going to do 2 tags here, which means I'm going to do them about, let's see, this is 8 3/4. So let's do them both at 4 inches by 5. What is this? That's not big enough. I'm going to cut this down. So there's that piece. I need another scrap. Two pieces at 4 inches by 5 inches, and they're both going to be stuck right here. And I think I'm going to snip this hinge in half so that they fold independently of each other. And I'm going to put, instead of this large side pockets, the opening being here, I'm going to put small bottom pockets on these instead. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and take my tape and add these to my hinges. If I can get it to do what I want it to do. Tape is not cooperating. So let's add this one like right here. I'm just guessing here, guys, so this is not like rocket science, so if you don't get it exactly even, it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to get them as close as possible. So I think I want these to fold individually. So I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to snip down this hinge. Just like that. So this one folds and this one folds. Perfect. Okay. Now I want small pockets. So let's use some scraps up. So is that too big? Let's find out. So what do I need? Let's see. It needs to be 6 inches, which this is not. Okay, by, let's see, I think this is too big for what I'm trying to do. So let's cut it down. Let's do 6 by 2.5 for these pockets. Score. There's 2 of these. So score on the 6-inch side at 1/2 inch on each end, and then on the 2.5 inch side at 1/2 inch for both. miter the corners. And fold on your score lines and burnish. I'm going to go ahead and add this one. To the bottom here. And the same for the other one. There we go. So 2 small pockets, and then a place for photos. And on our last hinge, let's see what we've got here. I'm still thinking I need something right there. Maybe I should make a pocket that opens this way, but whatever's in this pocket will stick out. To be determined. Or I could take this cute Celebrate tag and I could just stick it here. Thinking. That's an option. I may have that done when I show you the final of this. So this flips this way. Place for photo here. This is big enough for a 4x6 photo with a little strip of paper or for journaling. And then you have photos in here. And then you have this large space. And then you have another pocket with a booklet here. 2 like tag pockets with, well, I said there were pockets, so there you go. They flip that way, and then this. And I'm thinking maybe a small pocket right here. Maybe like a library pocket right here would be cute, with even like a tag stuck in it. So here I think I want to do, why is my mind just blank right now? I like these booklets. They really add a lot of space in here for this small album. So let's do another booklet. I'm not sure I can make it the same size as this one though. 5 1/4 by 8 is what I did. Let's see if that will fit here. No, it won't. So we'll have to go like we can try for 4 3/4 by 8, I guess. So let's do 8. Sorry, when I do this on camera, it's a little slower than normal. I was looking for my stylus thing and it's right here. So let's undercut this one a little bit and just score at 4 inches. So here's what I've done. I've cut a piece to 8 inches by 8 3/4, and I've scored on the 8 3/4 inch side at 4 inches. So I'm going to fold this, and I've made it a little undercut. So it's going to look like this. And I'm going to put that right there, just like I did the other one. But we're going to have to be careful here because you have that elastic. We don't want the elastic to get in the way. And there we go. I'll burnish that down a little bit with all those layers. Bring it back. Burnish this again. This craft cardstock is pretty heavy, so it doesn't lay as flat as other cardstock would. So, but I think it's cute. So we have our pocket here that something will be sticking out of. We can add a tag there if we want. There's 4 places for photos, and then another flap that we could add another pocket to if we wanted to, but I kind of like it plain. There's a pocket here on top of a booklet that opens up, and then we have the 2 individual tag pockets, and then the undercut booklet that opens, and you can still get, you'd probably have to crop your 4x6 photo down for here, but here you could definitely just stick a 4x6. And if you wanted to, once you've matted everything, you could either stick your photos here. See, this one's been cut down, so it would absolutely fit there. You could stick your photos here. Yeah, I'd stay away from the hinges and just stick them on the booklets. And then here, I'm going to do some kind of library pocket, which will probably end up being, actually, this is cute. I could put that right there. So you could take any kind of bag you have. I'm going to do like a punch, take my 1-inch circle punch, not this one obviously, and make a little notch right there and just glue that down, and that will be a place to stick memorabilia or photos or tags or whatever on the back. But I am going to mat this part with pattern paper as well and do what I did on the back, and actually do it right though this time and do the holes. So there it is, guys. So this folds this way. These come up and kind of keep all of that contained right there. And then these will fold in, and this folds over. And there is the folio. So there is going to be, or there is by now anyway, a final review by the time you watch this of this folio. So please go check out how it was totally finished and decorated. I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest of my matting and ink all my paper and glue it down, and come back and review it for you guys. So super easy project. I hope that you like it. I know it was kind of crazy, because that's how it is when I don't plan things really ahead of time. You get to see the raw creative process, which is kind of painful to watch. I know, I'm sorry. But I wanted to get this out to you guys because I thought this is a really cute idea. If you're like me, you have these things sitting around in your craft room and you're like, what do I do with this? Because I tend to find something that I like and I buy a lot of it. So also, I'm just noticing this difference between this distressed part and then this craft. So you could also, of course, take your little inker and blend that in a bit, which I'm sure I will do. So that way it kind of looks more like it's, see, all one piece. Much better, because that's going to drive me crazy. So that's it for the November Craftology box tutorial. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you make one of these or something similar. You could also, of course, make your own out of cardstock. It would be very simple. All this is some flaps, and they've scored it here so it has some room to fold, and so you don't even really need the whole Tim Holtz branded folio. And you could do any type of closure here to keep this closed without having to have the elastic bands. So I hope you make one. I hope you like it. Visit countrycraftcreations.com for next month's Craftology box. This one would have already been sold out, but of course if you don't have this paper, you can still make this project in any paper that you choose. And thanks for watching.